Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to Most Things Hypnosis. I am your host, Ilah Brock, and today is September 30th, 2021. We have a great show today, but can you believe there's only 3 months until the end of 2021? This year looked like it felt like it was like 10 minutes. Last year felt like it took 10 years. What's up with that? There must be unicorns in the air. I'm just guessing. Anyway, today my guest, who was scheduled, was Sean Green with body syndromes, and he had a family emergency and he's not able to make it today, but he will be on November 4th. I hope all is well with you, Sean, and everything is fine. All that, and energy and light and love being sent to you and your family, taking care. But I am elated. Sean did provide, bless his heart, a stand-in, and I'm so excited. I'm not going to give it away yet because I am going to share a little hint. I'm just going to say the word shaman. Okay, now hold that because in a few minutes I'm going to introduce her, and it's going to be phenomenal. But I have to wait for AJ to get home because she doesn't get home till 5:15. So I'm just going to keep talking for a couple minutes, not till 5:15. She's going to miss the first part. She'll just have to watch it on the record. Anyway, hey AJ. Anyway, we always have to start with, but first, my but first segment, right? So I want to explain to you just real briefly how I would help somebody who is wanting to lose weight. First of all, I would not call it losing weight because, we tend to find things that we lose. So, and the subconscious mind, it's quite powerful. So let's use the word release. Yeah, that's a better word, right? Or manage, reduce. So what I would think that you would want to release of unwanted weight. So I'm releasing unwanted weight forever. Okay. You got to just kind of get that in your head. So it has to do when someone comes into my office for a weight release program that I offer a couple of them. It has to do with why you're overweight, how long have you been overweight, what do you eat, when do you eat, your social settings, your home life, your support system, your work life. Are you sedentary? And believe it or not, folks, it's not exercise that's going to help you lose weight. Exercise is going to help your blood flow. It's going to get you tone and trim. But really, it's about triggering your insulin. Don't trigger it. You don't crash it. You don't spike it. Keep it the same all day long. Your energy is going to go up. How do you do that? Through changing your diet and the way of life. Yeah, it's a great program. So in the first section, my hypnotics, in your hypnotic state, I'm going to suggest that you are now willing to start considering new changes, looking at things differently. The concept that I go into much more detail in hypnosis. And then I use words that you have, and I've already discussed. We talk about that. This allows your subconscious mind to start accepting the idea that change is happening and it doesn't need to struggle. And it starts to create a new comfort zone for yourself, if you will, because we're creating a new self-image. One of my programs, my most popular right now, is the nine session program. And I can help someone who does not have a medical reason why they are overweight to lose at least 15 pounds in 9 weeks, so long as you follow my instructions. Those are my caveats. And I follow the same instructions, okay? So if you are all interested in releasing some pre-holiday weight or eliminating sugar from your diet forever and making it about as disgusting as you want, just give me a call. My number's right there on the screen, 559-749-4803. Now for my amazing guest, Grawben Corona. She's a certified hypnotherapist, and yes, her last name is Corona. She's the most popular last name of all last year. And a good popular, because she's an amazing person. Amazing. So I call her the hypnotherapist extraordinaire. Grawben Corona is a shamanic sacred circle facilitator. She leads shamanic circles and guides individuals in one's healing. This is done through energy healing and extended states of consciousness. She has learned to provide her community with a deep transformational experience And over the past few years, she has used various shamanic and ancient techniques and teachings to lead ceremonies, healing circles, and retreats that provide life changing transformations for people from all walks of life. She has a heart for service and leadership to help you awaken to who you truly are. It's like you get these downloads. This is done through experiencing spiritual and mystical experiences. She provides you the tools to heal yourself. And I want to welcome Grawben. Thank you so much for being on my show, and so last minute too.
Thank you, Ilah, for that warm welcome.
We're
I'm so excited to be here with you and connect with you again.
Yes, it's so much fun. You're just a ball of joy. Now,
Thank you.
there's some hobbies that some people have, and I'm going to start this right off before we get into what you do. There was a video you put on your Facebook page. You were in this costume dancing around, and the costume was you in, I wish I had thought of it sooner. We would have put a picture up, in a unicorn costume. Grawben is like, she loves unicorns. I like skunks. Yeah, I'm a stinker. She's a unicorn aficionado. Okay, so see, I told you I get it in there.
Yes, it was an inflatable unicorn costume, and I love to salsa dance. I was salsa dancing in the unicorn costume, and I bought it just because it makes me happy. And if that's what makes me happy, then that's what I'm going to do.
That's it. I mean, it's like you live in happiness and you get to do what you do. I think when you put that up there and you're like, this makes me happy, I don't know what you had said, but I just remember, well, that was awfully immature. And then I thought, that was awfully immature. I love it.
I was like, you know what? I don't care.
That's right. I just thought that
like,
was so
this
cool.
is my page. If it offends you, don't watch it.
That's right. And it didn't offend me. It was just like, that's just got some gravitas. I mean, like, you just went out there. I'm like, wow, that is, you're an extrovert, I think.
Oh yeah, a little bit. I could be introverted too, but yeah.
Well, we have that subdominant part of our behavior always there. So first of all, I wanted to ask one. I want to write down a question before I forget. So, tell me, what is a shaman?
So a shaman is somebody who is able to tap into, other realms of like consciousness. So like the good and the bad, and work on healing and divination. So it's just a person that helps you to be able to look at yourself, and is like a mirror for you to be able to heal those deep wounds and the deep shadows that we all have.
Can you give me an example, a specific example?
Like dealing with, addictions or family trauma, deep hurts, loss. So
if I came to you and I've got an addiction, I'm addicted to some drug or whatever, what would that look like in a session, or 2 or 3 or 10 or what?
Mm-hmm. So there's many different ways that we can go about like working, with addiction. Many times a lot of people have tried a lot of things, and, I work with plant medicines.
Oh.
So sometimes plant medicines really, really help to go really, really deep within. Hypnosis really helps with the trance states, as obviously,
Right.
But plant medicine is on a whole nother level.
Gotcha.
When you think you've like reached that subconscious mind and you decide to do the plant medicine journey, it is like
life-changing. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to have a session then. And
Yeah.
maybe we can do it here. You come up to Fresno. We'll do it right here on the show.
We'll do it live right there.
We'll
with
just
you.
have me right there. Yeah. Don't do plant medicine without a proper shaman. So, how do you become a shaman?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like, for me, it was divine intervention. For me, it's in my family lineage. So I grew up very Catholic. But I always, as a child, felt very, very highly sensitive. And I just felt this connection to source that was like undeniable. I had, my internal compass always led me to what was like right and wrong. And
Uh-huh.
anytime I strayed from that, I didn't feel in alignment with myself.
Mm.
My aunt tried to teach me at a very young age about, healing plants and herbs and
Mhm.
ceremonies and traditions that, like I said, were in my lineage. Um, at a very young age, she saw something in me. So I've always been very like intuitive
Mhm.
and an empath. I just didn't know.
Oh.
And I learned through training and with my own shamanic teacher how to awaken those things that were in me that, through society and, just religion and beliefs kind of got turned off. So I really had to work, and hypnosis helped a lot with this.
Awesome.
I really had to help to work on quieting my mind and going within to silence myself and connect with source. So shamans really have the ability to quiet themselves, to connect with spirit and to connect with the energies around them, to be guided by the ancestors and the ancient ones, and to bring forth, the team of people that is there supporting you, of,
Mhm.
your guides and people who have passed. We have so much of a bigger team working for us on the other side. So it's like sometimes we feel alone here on this plane, but it's like if you could only see the team of people you have behind you
Wow.
that have passed on.
Wow,
Uh,
that I just getting chills just thinking about that. Is someone born a shaman and then they just like enhance it later on, or can you become can anyone become a shaman?
you have to stay in right relation with it. You have to have like a deep
Calling,
reverence for
kind of
it
like a
and an
calling,
understanding.
like a
Um,
calling,
I'm sorry?
like a calling. You have to have a
Yes,
calling.
I
Okay.
believe that it is a deep calling that you really have to, stay in integrity with, because it is a very sacred um, portal of how to help people heal. So you have to understand that, by you doing the work, you can open somebody up. And if you're not going to stay in right relation and integrity with that person through their healing,
Hmm.
then it's not for you.
Gotcha. Well,
But,
yeah, yeah.
you feel it, and it's a deep calling of wanting to help people heal, and to not only help heal them, but help to raise the consciousness and the vibration and the collective of everybody.
I love it.
So it's really, really healing the whole, and doing it integratively, and working on the mind, body, and spirit.
Okay.
So, hypnosis is very, very shamanic. It's been around since the beginning of time, and that's what I tell people. It's trance states.
Mm-hmm.
And these trance states have been used in ceremonies, which is what I do. I facilitate ceremonies where people gather and can share and can find support, and that network of people where they can feel, that they can be held in a container.
Wow.
So, I find that when you work in this way, people become their own support systems.
Mm-hmm.
um, and you build a community. So when you do go through like a experience, like a plant medicine ceremony, they can find the support within the community that I've created. And I don't need to be there all the time for each individual
Right.
person or client, because they have this support
From their
that's,
collective.
carrying them through their journey.
Wow, that's so cool. Okay, so I'm like writing down all these questions here. Sorry, I'm postmenopausal, people. I just carry a fan everywhere I go. I don't, you weren't in school when I was in school. We went to the same hypnotherapy school. I was just known for my fan.
I
um,
have my little fan right
does
here.
now, oh, see, there you go. I love it. Oh, I have one of those. I should have brought it. Okay, so like when you're in a session, like a one on one with a client, and you're like you're kind of like in it with them basically is what I'm getting. Does
Mhm.
it drain you emotionally or physically, or like could you
No,
do two or three clients in a day in some sort of session with them? Does that drain
it
you too much?
it can if you don't protect
Okay.
yourself. So there's many modalities, that a healer will use to protect themselves.
Okay.
One is by covering like the third eye.
Okay.
I don't have my little band here, but usually I have like a ribbon, that
Oh,
I'll put
okay.
around my
Oh,
crown and to cover my third eye. Or
wow.
you can put like, a bean over your belly button to just, protect, the openings and the portals within your body. Um, it's using like the ancient like herbs like saging and
Mm-hmm.
opening the circle and closing the circle and calling in on your help and your ancestors and your guides to be there for the healing, only calling in on love and light to help assist in the healing and calling in on their um you know
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, hang on. Hold on. You froze. Oh no, you froze. Hold on. Okay, wait a minute. You froze there for a second, but I
uh,
think you're at the end there. I can't hear you. Hold on.
you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Okay. I don't know what
Okay.
happened there. Oh no.
Yeah.
I wanted to know there are. I mean, obviously, even in hypnotherapy and many other modalities, there's good and evil. But this could be somebody could be nefarious and try to use this in more of an evil kind of way. I know that's not what you do. You do no harm. But there are people out there that would probably try and use that in that way, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to only work with the light. I always call in just,
Okay.
all
Oh
beings of the
yeah,
highest
no.
vibration of love to help in
Okay.
the
There's always a
healing.
second side.
Yeah.
So do you have to go to school?
I trained with, my shamanic teacher, and I've been to a lot of ceremonies. Um Annually, I volunteer at a shamanic retreat up in Mount Shasta with a shaman from the Huichol tribe of Mexico. So a lot of the teachings I've learned have been firsthand learning by learning from somebody who knows how to use these sacred tools. So whether it's working with cacao, or whether it's working with mushrooms or ayahuasca or drumming or sound, my healing bowls. So there's many modalities that I use to help heal, or to whether you channel or you
Wow.
do you know uh you channel by writing. So it's learning how to tap into source. And what people want and what they want from a shaman is to experience the shaman's connection with source,
Mhm.
because they hold a very strict, sacred, spiritual practice. Um,
Gotcha.
so it's teaching the people and your clients to maintain that spiritual practice every day, whether it's by meditating, whether it's by praying, whether it's connecting with your ancestors, whether it's
Mhm.
creating an altar, um, and keeping your space sacred. So it's learning and teaching people how to connect with the divine.
I love that. So, in your practice, well, first of all, how recognized or popular is the in your practitioner? You can call yourself a
Mhm.
practitioner, shaman practitioner. How recognized is it right now in our Western world? Is it
It
still kind of shunned? Is it stigma in what kind of?
it is, but it's getting to be more well known
Okay.
as people I feel are starting to want to connect to something deeper. I
Yeah.
have felt, and I know that they I recently saw an interview. It was a documentary where they interviewed a bunch of hypnotherapists,
Hmm.
and they asked them like how many of your clients have spiritual experiences in hypnosis, and every single one of them raised their hand, because when people come to us, it's like they begin to awaken and unlock that part of their
Oh,
brain
that's true.
where you can never be the same. It's an
Right.
expanded consciousness of continuing to grow and learn and find your own answers and your own truth, not just what you're being fed by
Exactly.
society.
Right.
So I feel that there is a big shift happening, in the world. And I do notice just through social media and different platforms how much more people are getting into spirituality and wanting to reconnect back to source and back to nature and back to old ways of living, like farming and planting and
Wow.
these things. So it is growing.
That's good. I love that. Um,
Yeah.
so it just doesn't just help you heal emotionally and spiritually, but it can help heal in a physical sense too. If someone has like chronic pain.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really diving deep and getting to the source of it all.
Oh, source.
So,
Okay.
it's removing that stuck energy that gets trapped in our body. Um, by doing these ceremonies, by helping to activate or using sacred codes, and all of these different techniques, the drumming helps you to awaken again. It's like it brings you back to that heartbeat of your mother that you
Mm.
felt in the womb. There's also been studies, and my shaman taught me that throughout many different continents all over the world, rattles have been found in every culture.
Oh,
Um, and just to hear like the rattle sound, like a baby, you give a baby a rattle, it soothes them. It
wow.
has a neurological effect on the brain that calms you.
Wow. It's like,
So rattles have been found all over the world from the same time periods.
wow.
So these ancient traditions and little things, that they're finding, they go back to the beginning of time, like sleep temples, the same thing as
Wow.
hypnosis.
That is,
They put you into a deep trance state for days. It's the same
wow.
thing.
That is like, that's like surreal. I gotta pontificate on that one. Are all shamans hypnotists?
I kind of would say yes because they know how to put you into a deep trance state.
Okay. That,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
that
mean, they may
works.
use other forms and other
Yeah.
ways to get you there, but definitely.
How long does it take to become a shaman?
It, you know, it's
Stages,
you're
levels?
not considered a shaman until you're called a healer by your community.
Ah,
That's how it works.
okay. Okay.
So you typically won't hear anybody say, "Oh, I'm a shaman," you know.
Okay.
But yes, when your community starts to refer to you as that, that's when you are considered a true shamanic healer.
Are you considered a true shamanic healer?
I have been called a healer before by, yeah, my
I
community, but
I
yes.
I I think it's awesome. So it can just take however long it takes, and I'm glad that it's starting to be recognized as a thing like hypnotherapy. With all the stigma that we've encountered over the years, just
Mhm.
as a hypnotherapist. You use hypnosis? Are you going to make me do this? Blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. So tired of the whole,
Mhm.
stereotyping us. Stop it.
I know, I get
Some
it.
people. So, um, interacting with spirits um, through altered states of consciousness. And those spirits would be other life forms, or other humans, or other ancestors, or just other fill in the blank.
Mhm.
Is that how that
Whoever
works?
comes through,
Okay. And
comes through, and it's a feeling. Um, it's just this feeling or this knowing that it's something greater than you that is giving you a message. Um, it's like you just know and you experience. Like for instance, sometimes with my healings, I channel, and uh I've had clients tell me like the next time I see them, what you said changed my life, and it was so profound, and they literally like bring their journal and word for word quote me on what I said,
wow.
and I do not remember. And I'm like, really, what else did I say?
Right?
I'm like,
Tell
I
me
said
more.
that. Yeah,
Right?
I honestly don't remember, because I feel like I'm literally just opening up to spirit and to
Mm,
higher dimensions, and it's literally just
flows.
I'm a vessel and it's pouring through me.
Yeah,
So
I
the
love that.
messages that are coming through
Yeah.
are just being used through me to get to them.
Conduit. You're a conduit.
Exactly.
How does this compare with past life regression?
It's very similar. I I feel with past life regression, that you are connecting to these other dimensions and multiple realities at once.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I can tell you, like, I have a recording I did with a client who I was doing the healing for her and leading her through it and guiding her. But what came through was like her grandmother who used her as a vessel to communicate information to me, which
Oh.
I had to turn my camera off because I started bawling. And I was
Oh.
not expecting that
Whoa.
at all.
Wow.
And I felt it so deeply because I was like, wait a minute, she's talking to me. And
Ooh.
then when I brought her out of the past life regression, she sat up and the first thing she said, I'm wiping my eyes away. I'm like, this was her session, but I'm like experiencing,
Right.
I'm healing with this. Um,
Wow.
the first thing she said to me, she's like, I felt like, she's like, I know it was my session and my experience. She's like, but what came through was meant for you to hear.
Wow. She had to
Never
be there.
spoke to her again.
Wow.
I followed up with her to check in like a few days
Was she
later.
pissed off
I
or
did
anything?
some research on like the places and she never called me back.
Was she
I
like pissed
still
off?
have the video till this day with the
Wow.
profound messages that just
Wow.
made me sob.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, she thinks she's
So
angry because it wasn't her session. Maybe you don't think she freaked out or anything, do you?
no, not at all. It
Okay.
was such a beautiful, I mean, we were both crying by the end of it, just
Oh,
like
that's so
with
sweet.
her experience and then her,
Mhm.
channeling her grandmother and her grandmother's messages to me about the lost world and
Wow.
how that world no longer existed and the teachings from that world and our shell, like this just being our shell and to connect. Oh, the words and how they were expressed were so beyond beautiful. It's like, how does
Wow.
that come through somebody?
Where did that come
So,
from? What? Huh? Yeah, no, I totally get it because there are times when I'm working with a client and I only do hypnotherapy. I got them in state, and I don't use scripts. I'll like pick a
mhm,
word or something I can really expand on it. If I'm losing words, I just need words, right?
yes,
Sometimes I've just lost a word. I don't know what to. So I'll have words around my little table and then I'll expand. I record my session, so it's like where afterwards I'm like, where did that come from? That was so pretty.
yeah,
How did that happen? Or oh, that was good. I'm gonna have to remember that one for myself or something like that. You just like where I don't know. It's like Holy Spirit or something driven
yeah,
or something. It's kind of amazing.
it
So
is.
I wanted to ask. You've heard of a pineal gland awakening or whatever they call them? Is
Pineal
that
gland.
yeah, the
Yes,
pineal gland? Now, first of all, is that something you work with?
yes.
How
So
does that work? First, what is the pineal gland? Where is it located? And then how does it work in your field, and in the field?
yeah, so the pineal gland is thought to be like pretty much in like the center of your brain. So if
Mhm.
like
Right.
you imagine like a stick going through this way
Mhm.
and like one going through the center of your eye and then meeting
Mhm.
in the middle. That's
Okay.
usually where the pineal gland is. And the pineal gland helps you to connect to higher consciousness.
Okay.
There have been studies that have found that there are crystals within our pineal gland. And we know that crystals help to maximize and, they're a conduit,
Oh.
for information. So, the pineal gland really helps you, like I said, to connect to source, to connect to, other realms, other forms of, different realities that are going on at the same time.
Right.
So,
There.
yeah,
Oh, see, there you
it's
go. Thank you, Mike.
connecting. Hmm.
That's great. It's right there. He's
Yeah,
all
it's
over
your
it, man.
crown. It's, connection to
We have
source and all that
we have
is.
such a great production guy here. Oh, he's awesome. No, you can't have him. um, So how would, I mean, I know there's plant medicine that can help connect to it, but is there a way to connect to the pineal gland without plant medicine?
Definitely trance states,
Okay.
hypnosis, meditation.
Is it like a
Um,
one and done process, or is it a cumulative over a period of time?
it's a cumulative over time. It's a practice. You
Okay.
know, it's like continuing a spiritual practice. It's like learning how to quiet the mind, learning
Oh,
how to go within. And I know that you and I both know this from our teachings of like, uh, you have to really quiet the mind and make it a practice in order for you to be able to drop into those states. It's not
mhm.
just going to take one time. It's like usually the first session is just to condition you to the
Right.
process. But when you keep a spiritual practice of, do you drink enough water every day? Do you eat healthy? Do you reach out to loved ones? Are you connected with you? Do you have a support system? Do you
Mhm.
get on the freeway and cuss people out? Or, do you just let it pass? And what do you connect with? Like, do you choose to connect and argue with people and know that they're going to drain you? Or you choose to just be like, no, I'm not going to plug in?
Yeah.
So that all has to do with your spiritual practice, the things you do every day that literally make you you.
Yeah.
So the more that you practice these things, the more that you're able to quiet the mind and connect and connect to source and to connect to God or whatever you believe.
You're
Because
right. You're right.
when you don't have a spiritual practice, you disconnect from source, which is you disconnect from yourself,
Mhm.
because we are one and the same.
Right. All roads lead to higher source anyway.
Yep.
Everyone's got their own higher source belief
Hmm.
system, if you will.
Yes.
I like that. So, is there ever time in your practice so far that you've not been able to put somebody in a trance state as a shaman, doing shaman work, that or they're just resistant? And what if they are resistant? What would cause that?
Um, I haven't had anybody that I haven't been able to put in.
Okay.
There was, I mean, in my practice, when I did do a past life regression, there was one who I was not able to, only because um, he was very highly addicted to those energy drinks.
Oh,
And I mean, yeah.
affected.
So he
Yeah.
didn't tell me that. So if that were the case, I would have worked on the addiction first.
Yeah.
um, so he couldn't relax.
Right.
But that was like the only case. But
Okay.
usually I will make sure that they don't have take substances or come to the
Right.
session high or something.
Right.
Um,
So, but if somebody, I mean, it hasn't happened, fortunately, and you know, knock on spirit. um, they come to you and you're doing maybe a non-plant
mhm,
ceremonial facilitation
mhm.
to help them, level up or reach another realm or something. And what would cause them not to get there? What is it, just them that's causing it, or could it be in our own spirit world, their own spirit world, that's preventing it? Like you're not allowed.
Hmm. It could be a plethora of things,
Okay.
It could be, like a psychic attack, or it could be like energy, or, they feel like the pressure of somebody or some, um, being, deflected onto them.
Right.
So it could be a lot of things that we just have to clear their aura and their energy,
Right.
and to help them not feel so depleted, because
Right.
we pick up people's energy all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and that literally, we don't even know it. Sometimes with our own clients, it's like they come in with so much heaviness,
Mm-hmm.
and if we don't protect, like we were talking about,
Right.
we feel it, and then we feel tired and drained and
Mm-hmm.
kind of almost sick the
Right.
rest of the day. Like
Yeah.
our immune system just goes woof.
Way
And
down. No, it's true. And everyone listening and watching, energy is all around us. It's scientifically studied. Our own energy extends at least 5 feet around us. And it may be more, I don't know, but this is what I had learned. So when you're next to somebody who you vibe with, pretty cool. Yeah, that's positive energy, liking positive energy. But have you ever been around somebody who had negative energy? They just didn't feel right. And then you're like, wow, You're just like what Grawben, it's like it's kind of ugly. You start to feel, because that, you've got the positive thing going, the negative wants to come in and just kind of control the show. You got to walk away. When you start to feel that, you got to walk away. What if I'm standing in line at the bank? Walk away. There's going to be another line at another bank somewhere else. You got to walk. You can't walk around with saging every single place you go in, but you can't walk away. Walk away and move forward. What else can you explain about uh, the spiritual work that you do with or your most craziest session?
Oh, I've had yeah, I mean, when I do like my energy work with people, like sometimes they'll just do, or their body will move or react in a certain way. I remember I had a client I was doing energy work on. I was helping to clear her aura and her energy, and she just starts moving her head from side to side, and I was like, "Oh my God, like what's happening?" Like it scared me, but I had to like stay centered, and I was like, "Okay, just let it, whatever happens, happens. It's happening in its
Mm-hmm.
divine order and how it's supposed to."
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I was like, okay. And then she just stopped. And then I just kept doing the healing. And then after the session, I asked her, I was like, do you remember like you just like shaking and going like this? And she's like, oh yeah. And I was like, what was that? And she's like, oh, I just felt like I needed to move my body. And I was like, oh, well, you
Oh,
scared the bejesus out of me. I'm like thinking like I'm doing an exorcism or
right, or
something.
something.
But she's like, I just felt like I needed to get the energy out of me. Like,
Wow, that's
so
profound.
sometimes things like that will happen.
Just be ready
Uh,
for it.
yeah, or you'll be, that's why in ceremony, I have to make sure that everybody's energy is right, because some a person's negative energy or somebody who's not fully in it can bring down and affect the energy of the collective circle.
Oh,
So I have to make sure that I address that person so they don't ruin the experience of everybody
so
else.
what does that look like? You got 10, 12 people in a circle, and there's two of them that have that kind of that negative resistance or whatever. Do you ask them to step out of the circle, or do you work with them for a few minutes?
I can sometimes ask them to, step out of the circle, but I try to work with them and I try to work on whatever is coming up, the resistance.
Good.
And sometimes they don't want to open up their heart,
Okay.
So, once I do, it's like the whole circle will feel it once they do decide to join in and to
Right.
release whatever, that energy was, or to open up their heart to healing.
Okay. So I'm just trying to think of some questions here that are just like five of them running through my head. um, I know you know about crystals. You got quartz, and you've got all the different pyrites, all the different types of stones and rocks and crystals that have energy in them. I mean, this cup has energy in it, but some energy is used for other things. So, How does that, or can it, or will it, or do you use them, help in your practice?
Oh, definitely. Crystals help to absorb energy,
Oh,
and they also help to project it out. So they, like for instance, like selenite. Selenite is a clearing stone. So it absorbs the negative energy. And then, I mean, I have selenite in my threshold of, my home. There's a
oh,
little step down that you take, and I
mm-hmm.
put it right there. And every
Oh,
time, sometimes I do see clients out of my home, that thing from being this thick slab, it starts to shrink and to chip away. I
oh,
need to get a new one.
oh,
But
wow.
yeah, it absorbs negative energy. Like
Mm-hmm.
obsidian, the black stone,
Mm-hmm.
is a very strong protection stone.
Oh,
And not only does it absorb really strong negative energy, it will not break because it's so black. So,
oh,
um,
wow.
and the Mayans used it to
Mm-hmm.
not only for healing, but they also used it to look up at the sun to see solar eclipses. You can see through it,
Oh,
and you can
wow.
see the ring from the sun. Looks like
Oh,
the ring of
wow.
fire. Yeah, so there's so many like ancient things that have been lost, but that are now starting to come, to the light again.
That is, you just give me so many wonderful ideas. I just got in the mail today a bunch of crystals and such, and one of them is selenite. It's just a little one, but I have a bigger one in my office. I just keep it in my therapy room, but
Hmm.
I don't understand enough about crystals. It's not my thing. I like them because they're pretty, and I know there's some healing benefit to them. I have some chakra crystal trees in my office, and I
Hmm.
stick them in the window once in a while to charge them up or whatever. But I think it's a cool thing. Now, okay, I know this is internet TV, guys, so I can say this. I'll take crystals and, little ones, and I'll stick them in my bra through the day,
Oh yeah.
kind of thing. It's
Yeah,
like,
I have
it's
one.
okay. It's not going to hurt you. There you go. Yeah. Well, and I've got my chakra pendulum sitting here. So, um,
Nice.
but let's talk about animals. And I've heard of animal totems and in the spirit world, if you will. And how does that work, since you're kind of like this amazing everything one stop shop kind of person? I'm just loving this. Um, as I don't know if that's something that you would work with as a shaman, or is it just something your clients bring to you and you just work with what you got? How do animals or animal totems, how does all
Yeah.
of that work?
So sometimes, animals or animal totems can appear in a healing, and there's spiritual significance when, an animal appears to you, and you can take that spiritual significance. Like for instance, in the Huichol tribe of Mexico, they live high up in the mountains.
Mm-hmm.
The deer is very, very sacred to them.
Ah,
The deer is like a brother that leads you through life, that's guiding you through life to the
oh,
afterworld. um the is it the Lakota people, the buffalo, and
okay.
certain tribes, the buffalo
Mm.
is very, very sacred to them. So there's a lot of different like animals that have, very sacred meanings, um based on the teachings and the ancient, um beliefs that they have. So,
Right.
many times, a snake will appear, or, a horned animal will appear. So the animals, they have very significant meaning. Kind of like in hypnosis, it's like whatever comes up, it has meaning for you. And it's your experience, and you know what you're feeling,
So,
based on that.
so as a channeler, you're channeling spirits. Can you channel animals through you to communicate with somebody else?
Hmm.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
that brings
like
in.
when I've done house clearings,
Okay.
um, I do house clearings, and sometimes some of my hypnosis clients, they'll want to do like a house clearing when they know that I do energy work or Reiki or the
Right.
other, modalities that I use. Um, and I remember I had a client who I did a house clearing with, and he kept seeing or feeling things move around, and just something was in his home. And I immediately got the image of a cat. And I was like, "Was there a cat, or have you owned a cat?" Or and he opens his drawer, and in the top drawer of his dresser, he pulls out an image, and he's like, "Is this what you're seeing?" And I'm like, "Yes." And it was a black cat, and it was his cat who had passed.
Oh,
And I was like, "He's still here, and he's like a cat, likes to move things around and push things off of things." And I was
wow.
like, that's what I'm feeling. Like when he showed me that picture, immediately I felt like this deep connection of like, yep, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
And it
Wow.
made him feel more at ease, because he's like, I don't know what's going on. I just, things just start moving.
That's so incredible. This is just so incredible. I mean, I've heard of shamans, and even at HMI where we attended school, there's a lot of talk about that. There's, some discussion here and there about this, that, and the other. But I've never really paid attention until we talked the other day when when you said you could be on my show today. I'm like, wow, this is just opening a whole new door for me. That's like, wow, more stuff to study. Do they have
Oh,
like a
they're so, so,
shaman
so,
for
so
dummies book out there?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
when I started studying with my teachers, and you just feel the experiences and like the the energy alignment moving through like the center of your spine, like that kundalini energy, like
Mhm.
your body will just do all kinds of stuff and you'll just kind of start rocking
Ooh.
and like, ooh, like,
Whoa.
oh yeah, I've had activations or I'm in, ceremony with, the plant medicine and, I just feel my hands will just start healing and they'll just start moving and clearing and pulling and going into different mudras and my hands will start doing all kinds of things. you
So,
know
one of the stigmas that I'm assuming that you probably get or have heard is this is kind of like a black magic or witch kind of thing, sorcerer
Mhm.
kind of stuff. So, what do you say to that?
If it helps you heal, so be it.
Okay.
If you feel that it works for you, then fine. If it's not for you, then I always say take what resonates and drop the rest.
There you go. I
That's it.
like that. Then
If it doesn't resonate with you, then it's not for you. If maybe you're not ready to
move forward.
experience it or to completely understand it. And
Right.
I always tell people we fear what we don't know
Hmm.
until you know, until you experience it, until you go through something and you realize that what you were taught isn't relevant anymore, then you're just like, okay. Because I can say too, it's like, people will be like, oh no, that's not religious or whatever. I grew up very religious, so I
Hmm.
understand
Right.
religion.
Okay.
So, and it's like when you have like I had in my case, deep, deep, deep PTSD,
Mm. Religious PTSD.
and I
I'm
couldn't
right
pray it
there.
away.
Yeah, I'm right. I'm
I
right there.
tried. I
Yeah.
went to traditional talk therapy. It
Hmm.
didn't work.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
mean, I tried every Western thing, and
Wow.
it did not help.
And this
And it was,
helps.
yes.
This is where it's all been helping you. This is
hmm
phenomenal. Okay, so
Until,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, I said until I learning about trance states and really, again, connecting to that healing and that power that I had all along within myself that I was shut down and then started to awaken again.
That's so cool. So we're almost out of time, but you have a private practice. Where's it located? How can people reach you? How can people see you? Talk to you? Do you give consultations?
I do. You can reach me through my website at mindsethealing.org. You can contact me personally, through my business line at 818-850-5522 to work with me or to get on my email list for when I do facilitate sacred circle ceremonies, just to start building that community. If you do want to get involved in, the sacred ceremonies, just reach out.
So somebody could come to you and say, "Hey, I want to have a sacred ceremony with a bunch of my friends or
hmm
whatever," and that's
hmm
something you can do too. I just bought a house and I need somebody to come clear it.
hmm
Do you
Do a
do
house
you do?
clearing.
Yeah, obviously, you need to do in-person sessions.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes. There are some that I can do, if it's just mainly like counseling or facilitating, just
right,
a healing or doing like an oracle reading, I can
right.
do that.
This is her
Um,
website right here.
mhm. But for like the deeper stuff, yeah,
Right, it's
it in
beautiful.
person would definitely
Be
work
better.
best.
And so, where is your office located?
I'm in Los Angeles,
Okay,
so like Brentwood and North
okay,
Hollywood area.
wonderful.
And then I also see clients online depending on like
What
what
the need is,
modality you
right?
want to
Can
use.
you do energy healing online?
I can do distance energy healing.
Okay.
So I work with people from all over the world.
Wow. Also, Grawben's first language is Spanish, so if don't be hindered, she's my hypnotherapist. I refer if I have somebody who wants a Spanish speaking hypnotherapist.
Se
So,
habla español.
see, she's a Española. And those of you who speak Spanish know that already. And then there's people like me that had not a clue. I'm just a white girl from LA. What do I know, right? Okay, well, thank you, Grawben. Is there any words of wisdom, real quick, that you can share in like a minute or so about anything you'd like to that we didn't discuss or talk about that you would like to
I
put
think
out
we
there?
touched on everything, but
Okay.
yeah, just keep it positive and and stay in the light. That's all
The
you can do.
light. It's all
And
about the light.
yeah,
Right.
stay in the
Awesome.
light, focus on love, and love is the
The
highest
key.
vibration. And when there's love, there can be no there can be no pain or, illness. Just as much as you can get in the love vibration, just
The
stay there.
love. It's funny because I heard even Ken Dubner said this once, that if you're in a bad mood, for example, or you have like the guy that cut you off, or the line that's too long at Starbucks or whatever, and you're just like impatient, feeling
Mhm.
that impatience, and you're not feeling much love. So one of the things that it was kind of cool that he said, just start saying I love you. Look at the clerk that's going to be helping you, or all of the staff. And if it's the people that are bothering you, maybe their energy's not there. Just say I love you. I love you. I love you over and over and over again in your mind. Don't go up to everybody and tell them you love them. You might be might be socially unacceptable. Don't break those social contracts. But just I love you. I love you. I love you. And it will, just saying that, because eventually that's going to match, because it's in your mind. Then you're saying it, and as you say it, you hear it, goes back in your mind, and it's kind of like this loop, and your body's
You're
going to
like
catch
putting
up.
it out to the universe.
Exactly,
It's
and
going
your
to come back to you.
body's got to catch up to what's inside here. So the energy, it's got to catch up to you somehow, some way, somewhere. It's going to catch up to you, and it's so that's a very prominent thing.
I love that. I'm going to start using that.
I know. It's
Thank
like
you for
it does. It's
that.
just it's like we have two sides to our brain. We talk to ourselves. If you don't know, just when you're in the shower, people, you talk to yourself, right? Whatever it is, and you got the other voice in your head that talks to the voice that's you. But then who's the other voice? Grawben, do you know who the other voice is?
Those dang monkeys.
Those monkeys. It's actually you. So think about taking that other voice we don't like and personifying it, put it as a person sitting next to you. Would you let them talk to you like that? So instead of putting energy into that, and you have control, put energy into the voice of reason. Put a Jiminy Cricket in there. Anytime that negative crap comes up, you can just say it in a Scooby-Doo voice, like Joe Tabanella teaches us. Put it in a cartoon voice. And now all of a sudden, you just chuckled when I said that, because it just loses its charge when it does that. And then you can just go back to I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you, over and over and over and over again. And it really does make you feel good. Love. It's what makes the world go around, yeah?
It truly is.
All right, Robin, thank you. I know you have a client coming in real fast. Thank you so much for being here. I want to have you back. Okay?
Thank you, Ilah. I love you.
I love you too, honey. You take care. Have a great evening.
Thank you. You too.
Okay,
Bye.
bye-bye. Well, folks, that's almost a wrap. But before we go, I wanted to real quick say a couple things. One, Grawben was just wonderful. So be sure to reach out to her if you have any questions about what she does or whatever. You want to know more, just reach out to her. But also on a business note, we're talking about business now because, the show is most things hypnosis with Ilah Brock. Yeah, that's me, right? I want to talk about real quick a business thing. I do offer advertising on my show. It's not expensive. You provide the content, and it's really inexpensive. It's $1.50 a second and a 15-second minute. So it's $22.50 for 15 seconds. If you want me to read copy, provide that. I will be happy to do that during my show, like at the halfway, whenever you want it. We can discuss that. So if you're ever interested, anytime, whatever, just give me a call. My number's right there on the screen, 559-749-4803. And before I close, I'm going to let you know something about goal setting. This is so cool. And I've learned this, and I just reacquainted myself with it. It's setting a goal. How do you set a goal? Well, you have to make it what we call a SMART goal. SMART. S is for specific. You have to keep it very specific. So if someone says, I want more money, give them a penny and tell them, there you go, you have more money. That wasn't very specific, was it? Well, I don't want a penny. Okay, well, then a SMART goal is being as specific as possible. Well, if it's money that you want, how much? Be specific. And then the M stands for measurable. Is it something you can measure? At what point? Point A, point B, point C? How are you going to measure it? If your SMART goal is to lose weight, then you can measure it by the scale. So at this particular time, I'm going to be this weight, or I'll have lost this much, etc. The A is if it's achievable. How are you going to know this is achievable even as you're setting the goal? How will you know that? Well, your clothes, like in weight loss, your clothes are going to fit looser. In abundance, you're going to like start seeing fatter bank accounts. And then the R is realistic, is what you're asking for and setting the goal of realistic and reasonable. Is it something like if your baseline has always been 150,000 a year, and now you're going to say I want $1 million by December, and you've never done anything before that to create that reality, it's probably going to be unrealistic. Make something realistic in your site. If you want help with that, let me know. And then the T is the timetable. When do you want this goal to be achieved? Set a timetable, and then start working towards achieving it. Now you've got yourself a set of a SMART goal. Do this specifically for every goal you want. Okay, so that's an absolute wrap. Next week, when we come back, we have a wonderful, wonderful show you don't want to miss. I will probably advertise on Facebook what the show's going to be about. It's going to be something very unique that I've not done before. I mean, I've not been doing this for very long, but not done before. It's going to be fun. And I'm going to do a demonstration, not a hypnotic one. I'm going to do a limiting belief collapse. Well, that's my goal anyway, with a volunteer who will be here at the studio. So that's, but it's going to be fun and exciting and very moving, perhaps even. So don't be sure to stay tuned for that. If you have any questions, again, my name is Ilah Brock. I am at centralvalleyhypnotherapy.com in Visalia. And you can reach me at ilahbrock.com. And then my phone number again is right there, 559-749-4803. Take care, you all. I love you. And you all will see me next Thursday. Take care. Have a great weekend.